We are live now. Good evening. Let's sit straight and say our opening prayers first. Take a deep breath and we're going to chant Om. Drop your shoulders, open your chest. Take a deep breath. Om. 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Good evening, everyone. For anyone who's watching this later, I would like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you're looking for content around spirituality, holistic well-being, increasing your manifesting abilities, and a little bit of holistic cooking as well, well-being cooking. So go ahead and press the bell icon and the subscribe button. That will really help us do what we're doing here. Now let us get started with today's reading. Today's reading is chapter 16, part 2 of Ramayana. The chapter is called Kaikeyi brings the Valkalas. Before Rama had completed his request, Kaikeyi went to her apartments and came out with the rough and coarse tree bark, which was to be the clothing for Rama for 14 years. She gave it to Rama and said, "Here's what you asked for, wear it." There was a deadly silence when Rama took it, and after getting rid of the silks he was wearing, dressed himself in the cloth given to him by his mother. He looked like a tapasvin already, and at the same time Lakshmana took up the other pieces of the Valkala and dressed himself in them. The king was looking on and he was helpless. Realizing that another pair was brought for her sake, Sita took it in her hands, and the Valkalas held out to her by Kaikeyi. She turned them in her hands and tried in vain to wear them. With a nonplussed look on her face, she spoke shyly to her husband and said, "Tell me, my lord, how do they wear it in the forest? I do not seem to be doing it properly." She was standing there, looking helplessly around with the cloth in her hand. She had wound one piece around her neck and other in her hand. Sita was looking embarrassed since all eyes were upon her, and she could not wear it as it was to be worn. Rama came to her quickly, and with his own blessed hand he draped it over the silk and she was wearing. The sight was heartbreaking for the women of the harem, and all the eyes were wet as they saw Rama tying the Valkala around Sita's waist. Some of them were, "Rama, this young girl has not been banished to the forest. She does not have to undergo this punishment. Leave her behind with us. Take Lakshmana with you as your companion, but this young tender girl Sita is not meant to live in the forest and go through the many hardships of the living there." When he saw Sita dressed in tree bark, Vashishta was furious. He said, "Kaikeyi, you're a blot to the name of Dashratha and to the name of Ashwapati. You have overreached yourself in unwomanliness. You deceive the king and you are secure in the anticipation of being the queen mother. Sita does not have to go to the forest. Let her be seated on the throne meant for Rama and rule the land of the Ikshvakus. It is said that a wife is one's own self taking another form. Accordingly, Sita has every right to rule the kingdom, but this goddess among women is determined to live in the forest since her lord Rama is leaving for Dandaka. We will all follow Rama to where he goes, and the forest will become a city. Ayodhya will be the forest. Kaikeyi, in her ambition to own the kingdom, you have Kaikeyi, in your ambition to own the kingdom, you have lost sight of your one truth. You've not remembered the nature of Bharata. He will not be willing to accept the throne. I know these children of the king better than you do. Bharata and Shatrughna will wear tree bark and deer skin too, and they will live in the forest along with Rama. This city, populated with trees and empty houses, infested with rats and mice, can be ruled by you. Bharata will never accept the kingdom which you have won for him with so much trouble. You have done him wrong by this act of yours. There is no one in this world who is not devoted to Rama. At the moment, you must immediately give costly gems and ornaments to Sita, your son's wife, and make her take off this hideous Valkala. Only Rama has been asked to wear them in the forest since that was what you asked for. Sita live in the forest since she wants to, but she need not wear anything else but the silks she is accustomed to. The king was now past all caring, had no desire to live nor talk to anyone. He said, Kaikeyi, Sita should not wear the Valkala which you have made my son wear. She is a young girl accustomed to nothing but luxury, and as my revered Guru said, she should not be made to dress in this coarse cloth. What has she done that she should be made to stand like a mendicant in the midst of so many people? This daughter of Janaka must at once take out and throw away what she had been made to wear. Sita should not be subjected to any more indignities. You have banished Rama to the forest. Is that not enough for you? Why do you want to add to my misery by these cruel acts? Dashatha fell back exhausted on his couch. Rama spoke to him again and said, My lord, my mother is old and she is devoted to you. Never once has she done anything to displease you. She will be very unhappy when she is parted from me. And it is up to you to take good care of her. Unless you help her to bear it, my mother will not be able to bear this separation from me and she may lose her life. Dashatha could not speak. He knew the moment had come when Rama would go. He wept loudly and spoke not a word, and he mumbled, Evidently, in my previous birth, I have made several lives suffer. I must have parted the young ones from their parents, perhaps, and so I am suffering this in this birth. Life refuses to leave my body since the Lord has so willed that one should die only when the time comes. This is why I'm still alive in spite of the torture Kaikeyi has meted out to me. I'm looking at my sons throwing away their silks and wearing this tree bark. They are looking like two rishis. Because of this one woman who's eager to own the land, this large expanse of mud, the entire kingdom is suffering. That's the end of chapter 16. Now we are up to chapter 17. So, a painful farewell. The king was silent for a while. He then sighed as though his entire frame shattered. He spoke to Sumantra. Sumantra, yoke the best horses to my chariot and bring it to the doorway. Just 1 second. I need to pause for a second. Sorry for the interruption. We are going to continue with chapter 17 now, a painful farewell. The king was silent for a while. He then sighed as though his entire frame shattered. He spoke to Sumantra. Sumantra, yoke the best horses to my chariot and bring it to the doorway. Take this noblest of men and leave in the forest, which is uninhabited by men. I realize now that even when a man follows the path of Dharma, the acts he has performed in his previous birth will not leave him alone. That, I think, is the reason why I'm allowing this child of mine to be banished to the forest. And who is doing it? His father, who has never done a wrong thing in his life, and his mother, who had been loving him till today. Sumantra dragged his steps away from the hall and after a while came back to the presence of the king. He stood with his eyes downcast with tears in his eyes. The king and all the king's wives knew that the chariot was at the door. The king wiped the tears from his eyes and spoke in a voice which had suddenly grown firm. He said, Go to the treasury, calculate how much will be needed for this long stay of Sita in the forest, and bring silks and jewels to last her all that while. Make sure she has enough. Kaushalya and the other women of the harem dressed Sita in silks which were brought for her. The ornaments which they made her wear made Sita glow like the goddess Lakshmi, and it seemed as though she had come down to earth to bless them all. The entire place was as radiant as the sky, lit by the rays of the sun. Kaushalya embraced her and said, My child Sita, in this world it is common to see a woman being affectionate towards a husband and serving him well as long as he is wealthy and prosperous. But when he is in straitened circumstances, this same woman does not respect him. This is the nature of ordinary women. They have not learned the real value of things and they bring shame to the houses they are born in and the houses they are wedded to. They are foolish. However, those who know the duties of a pativrata consider their husband as the only God whom they should worship. And it goes without saying, Sita, that you are the most blessed among women. You have taken on yourself the banishment of your husband and you've decided to go with him wherever he goes. He should have been the king this morning, and instead he has become a sannyasi. And you, without any sign of sadness on your sweet face, have decided to be with him. You're an example to all women, and may you live long. Sita listened to the words of Rama's mother and said, Mother, my father and my mother have taught me how to serve my husband in such a manner that he should always be pleased with me. You have always often told me about this. I have been reminded of my duty now by you. I will remember all that I've been told, and I assure you I will do as you have asked me to. I will not be like the women of meager intelligence who slight their husbands when they are in trouble. Even as the moonlight will not exist without the moon, I will not swerve from Dharma. The veena will be mute without the strings. A chariot cannot move unless it has wheels. And a woman, if she is blessed with many children, even will not be happy if she is not with her husband. A father's gift will be limited, mother's will be limited too, and so that will be that of the son. But a husband gives all to his wife. How can a wife do anything else but to love him and honor him? Mother, I promise you I'll honor and obey my husband. He's my God and he's my everything. Even in the midst of her sorrow, Kaushalya smiled with happiness at the good fortune of her son who had been blessed with such a wife. Rama came near his mother. He had made pradakshina to her and his wife. His voice faltered a bit when he said, Mother, do not grieve too much. You must be brave and take care of my unfortunate father. He's unhappy and he needs you. Mother, time will pass fast and my exile will come to an end. Like the night passing soon when one is asleep, these 9 years and 5 will pass, and you'll soon see me come back to you. He then took leave of his other mothers with humility and said, Mothers, during these many years when you have known me, I might have knowingly or unknowingly, for fun or out of ignorance or familiarity, offended you. Forgive me and be patient with me. I wish to bid farewell to all of you and I wish to carry your blessings with me. There was nothing but sobs to be heard when Rama spoke thus. The palace, which would on other days resound with the noise of drums, bugles, and other warlike instruments, which would resemble the roar of thunder, was now filled with the sobs of women and the tinkling of their jewels. Women were now crying openly, and their cries filled the apartment and the palace too. Rama with Sita and Lakshmana took leave of everyone. They stood with their palms folded and finally they came to Dashatha. They made a pradakshina to him. Rama was extremely unhappy and in that frame of mind, he went to his mother again and all three of them prostrated before her. Lakshmana fell again and again at the feet of his mother Sumitra and sought her leave. Sumitra blessed him and said, My child, you've been born to live in the forest, I know it. She tried to speak calmly, but her tears choked her and she had to stop. Controlling her pain, Sumitra continued, My child, you're dear to everyone. You're devoted to Rama, and it is right that you should go with him and serve him. Never displease him, and remember to follow the ancient rule. Serve those who are elders, and the surest path is the surest path to heaven. Such a man will inherit the next world, whether your elder brother is in the midst of a wealth or in the grip of poverty and sorrow. It should not affect your devotion in the least. This is a path which has been pursued by your ancestors and it should be adopted by you too. Your life on this earth will be fruitful, and you can rest assured that in the next world there will be a place for you. You will have nothing but good fortune in this future life. Remember, my child, you should consider Rama to be Dashrata, your father. Sita should be to you what I am. The forest should be seem to be Ayodhya to you. May you be happy always. Go, my child. Sumantra stood before Rama even as Matali before Indra and said, Rama, the chariot is at the door. Tell me where you want to go and I'll take you there. According to the commands of the queen Kaikeyi Devi, your exile of 14 years begins today. They left the hall. Sita first ascended the chariot, and the brothers Rama and Lakshmana soon followed her into the chariot, which was glistening with gold and gems. The gifts which the king had ordered for Sita and the weapons which were needed for the brothers were already placed in the chariot. Sumantra took his seat, and the chariot began to move. The streets were filled with men, women, and children. Nothing was heard except the wail of the people. They rushed towards the chariot, which was to carry their beloved Rama away from them, and they walked with it. Rama listened to their injunction to Sumantra: pull the reins, Sumantra, lead the horses slowly so that the chariot does not go fast. We want to see Rama as long as we can. Their comments on the behavior of the king and the queen were painful to hear, and Rama tried in vain to shut them out. His eyes were now filled with tears. He could not fight the affection of an entire city. Dasharatha rushed to the doorway of palace and saying, "Let my eyes follow my Rama as far as my eyes can see. Let me keep on looking at him until he is lost to my sight." Rama heard the wail of the king's wives in the harem and the faint voice of his father. He could bear the torture no more. He told Sumantra, "Go fast, make the horses go faster, and let me go away from you as soon as possible." The people around were compelling Sumantra to go slow, and he did not want to do. He did not know what to do. The king, who saw the receding banner of the chariot, fell down in a dead faint. Rama knew what was happening. He knew that the king tried to follow the chariot on foot and he could not do so. Again and again he asked Sumantra to hurry. Rama could no longer bear to see his mother and father who had reached the ultimate bone of sorrow. His mother was now trying to follow the chariot like a cow which had been parted from its calm. "Rama, Rama," said Kaushalya, and Rama could hear her piteous voice. The king had now regained consciousness and he was shouting to Sumantra, "Stop the chariot, stop." Rama said, "Sumantra, go as fast as you can." He then added, "Sumantra, I know the worry which is in your mind. You are afraid to disobey the king. When you get back, if he asks you why you did not obey him, tell him that because of the noise made by the people, you were not able to hear his words." The crowd followed the chariot and surrounded in all sides. As far as for the king, he stood leaning against the doorway trying to follow the chariot and Rama with his eyes. He stood staring into empty space even after the chariot was lost to view. The king would not leave the spot where he stood with his eyes set on the path which Rama's chariots had taken. Even the dust had settled down and Rama had gone beyond the range of his vision, but still the king stood aching for a sight of his beloved son. So that is chapter 17 ends there. Let's share our thoughts. What stands out for you in chapter 16 and 17, Laya? You can
I
come.
have
Let Laya. Yes.
um, how so many people loved Rama and how they were all telling him to slow down, like not just his parents, but like the entire city loved him so much that they wanted him to slow down the chariot so they could keep looking at him. And I was gonna say something else.
What about Kaikeyi brings the Valkalas in that chapter where she made them wed?
That was like it seemed like really heartless, kind of how she made them do that in front of everyone, and also how like how everyone keeps saying that you should just follow Rama, and it was the right thing to do. Like they said that to Sita and Lakshmana, and they like throughout the entire story they keep using like not evidence but like first they use dharma to like justify what they were trying to say, kind of like through the entire story they use a lot of that to justify what they're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does dharma mean to you?
It was following the right path and
what does right path mean to you?
doing what you know is like correct, and even if you like, for example, like Rama would have wanted to stay in the palace, but he knew it was right to go to the forest, and that's what he did. So that's like following the right path. Yeah.
and listening to the words of his father and giving respect and following the orders of the elders, dharma. And they're also citing dharma for a woman, for the wife to take care, to honor the husband, no matter what, right? I found that interesting, whether he is doing well or he is going through a tough time. They are comparing how Sita uh, stands apart as someone who follows dharma and treats her husband and honors him no matter where he is, what he is, and how other women could be less intelligent and foolish about that, where their attitude changes. So that is not dharma. Dharma is being steadfast in your respect and in your values, right? That's something else. Surya, do you want to share? Very beautiful thoughts. I like you.
Same as last lesson, how he didn't tell his wife.
Yeah.
Lakshmana didn't tell his wife. Like he told his mother, but it still hasn't talked about his wife.
They've actually left. You were still waiting for the part where they are talking about Lakshmana's wife. Yeah, that's interesting.
And like also how Bharata Shatrugna's wife didn't like say, oh, he won't take up the throne. And how they want at least even mention.
No, they are not here. Remember, they mentioned they are in Kaikeyi. They are still not here.
They also went. Okay.
Yeah, they are not. They are not present in this whole situation.
Oh, okay.
What else stood out to you in the chapter 17, 16, where Kaikeyi brings the Valkalas?
What Laya said, how she said that how heartless it was of Kaikeyi to just go and give the clothes to them.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add apart from what she said? Anything that stands out?
Also, like how Rama's father made the smart decision of saying Sita can still take a silk dress.
And
but
jewels.
I wonder why they didn't say it for Lakshmana as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's also what I was going to say. I was also going to say like how Dashrata is still trying to do everything he can, like because Kaikeyi kind of kept her boons kind of vague. She didn't add a lot of detail. So she just said that Bharata should be king and Rama should go to the forest for 14 years.
She mentioned he should wear deer skin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But she didn't mention if he can take a bunch of jewels with him, or if he can take weapons with him, or he can take the entire city with him.
Earlier, when they mentioned that take or give them everything they needed, Kaikeyi interrupted and said, "You cannot empty the treasury. My son needs a kingdom to rule." Remember, she interrupted. Yeah. But for Sita, it was going way too far, right? So she had to. She didn't stop
I was
that.
also thinking Lakshmana wasn't part of this, so he also deserves like what they did for Sita as well. He's also respecting his brother that much to go with him.
Yeah.
So he should have also got some treasury.
And do you realize this book, as much as it is detailed, important part that we were all looking forward to finding what happened to Lakshmana's wife is not mentioned. It doesn't mean that she would have been in the real story. Of course, she would have been present, but in this whole...
She probably wasn't like that significant in the story for them to be able to portray.
Yeah, there are so many others too, versions where they talk about what Urmila does during the entire 14 years of exile and all that. So let's say our closing prayers today. Tomorrow will be Dashrata's Despair, chapter 18. So close your eyes, sit straight, and let's chant Om 3 times. Om. 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So anyone who's watching it in the replay, go ahead and watch from the beginning if you like to listen to the entire story. Now, YouTube also is making this available as a podcast to just listen to it as audio. That is also available for you. And subscribe and so that you can keep watching. I also invite if any of your children want to participate live, you can send a message to me or put in the comment below in the video, and I'll be able to invite you with a Zoom link as well. So I'm also saying that I'm making this available for anyone who wants to join, like in the discussion that we just had with Surya and Laya. Now, kids have an amazing way to look at things in a different lens with fresh perspectives, and they bring beautiful points to the discussion like you just saw in this video. So get in touch with me if you would like your children to participate in this as well. So thank you and good night.